What's up, everybody? It's your boy Dave P and RJ Pepino. We are the cream, cash flow, real estate, and money. We got a great video for you today. We're talking about the number one asset class in real estate to make a ton of money. That's right underneath your nose. We're going to be getting all into that. But before we do, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you love real estate as much as we do. It's our goal to provide quality content to help you on your real estate investing journey. Like the video if you find some golden nuggets, and feel free to share with any of your friends or family that are also interested in real estate investing or entrepreneurship. So the number one asset class, it's right under everybody's nose. Believe me, real estate is a very broad field. It's a very vast field, right? You could get into storage facilities. You could get into warehouses. You could get into commercial property retail space, right? You could get into even multifamily apartment investing, right? But the asset class that's right under everybody's nose is single family houses. Specifically though, suburban single family houses. In this video, we're going to talk to you why we've been making a killing in the suburbs. We're taking it back to the suburbs, everybody. We're city guys. We love the city, but the suburbs, big time money is happening in the suburbs. So RJ, give us some reasons here. What's going on in the suburbs and why are we liking it so much out there?
Well, before we talk about the money, because the money is great in the suburbs, I'm going to talk to you about demand. So since COVID has happened, a lot of people are wanting to get out of downtown. They're wanting to move out on the outskirts so that they're not really near people. And the demand is high for basically people working from home now. They're doing a lot of homeschooling. We went and saw our buddy up in Cleveland. He's doing homeschooling, which is amazing, by the way. Your kids are out of school by 1, and then you have the whole afternoon to spend time with them. Really cool. And I mean, ultimately, like, who wants to be living, especially with the pandemic, with people, they want their space now. And they don't really want to be side by side living next to each other. So apartments, unfortunately, the demand is down for that.
Another thing, everybody, is people really, I mean, we just came out of a pandemic. People really don't want to be that close to each other anymore. I know, hey, everybody's one big family here, but you know, the majority of people that I know don't really want to be that close to other people. They don't know if they're sick. Some people are still paranoid about the pandemic. Me personally, I'm not that paranoid about it, but a lot of people still are. And people just want that distant proximity. Hey, you still want neighbors, you know, when you're living downtown, everybody's kind of on top of each other. And that gives a little bit of room for caution if somebody is a little bit paranoid about the, you know, the proximity to where they live in regards to their neighbors go. Another thing, everybody, is the crime downtown. Crime is something to consider as well. In these downtown areas, the crime is much higher. I know when I used to live downtown, it was great. I was close to all these different bars and stuff like that, but my car was getting broken into pretty much every single night. But that is another reason why the demand for these suburban housing is very high. Us as real estate investors, we want to go where the demand is going. So in addition to people wanting to do the homeschooling and wanting the space for that, wanting to be away from crime and wanting to have their own space so they're not super close to their neighbors, is increasing the demand in the suburbs. Us as real estate investors are capitalizing on that. We're giving the people what they want. If people want to be in the suburbs, we need to own and control the real estate where the people are going.
Yeah, and another thing is we see an uptick in applications that are wanting to, because we have a lot of single family homes, they're wanting to have pets. And a lot of the apartments don't offer that, okay? Just could be just an added cost. And in a lot of the homes that we have, they still have to pay a pet deposit. But a lot of people are wanting to have their pets, and so they're moving out to the suburbs where the housing allows that. So that's one of the big demands and upticks that we're seeing in the property management.
They want a yard, right? You want to take the pet out to the yard, and the sentiment is a bit lonely out there, especially coming out of the pandemic and whatnot. People want to be loved, right? They want a pet. The demand for pets is extremely high. So that's a great point that you just made. And a lot of apartments are not going to let you have a dog, right? And maybe dog's man's best friend, right? A lot of apartments are not going to let you do that. So people are moving out to the suburbs where they can potentially have their own single family house. They want to rent. People are paying a premium for single family rentals right now. We teach you, and what we want to do is own these single family homes. People are paying a premium to live there because they're getting everything that they want. They're away from the crime. They're away from the pandemic. You being super close to other people. They want pets. They can have these pets in these single-family homes. Another key thing is the cost. So when we are flipping properties, our rental business is thriving in the suburbs because obviously people want to go there and live there, but also the demand for housing in the suburbs is extremely high. And when we're flipping properties, people who want to live there, maybe they're first-time buyers or their families, they're bidding these properties up. They're paying above asking prices for these properties in the suburbs, a lot because they could afford more house, they could afford a higher mortgage because the taxes are generally lower in the suburbs than they are downtown. If you're buying a downtown loft condo, typically you're going to have HOA fees, homeowners association, the taxes, the property taxes are typically higher, right? In this downtown area, it's close to all the municipalities and stuff like that. Well, that's all paid for by these property taxes, right? So the property taxes you could get a little bit lower down in these suburb areas in addition to all the space and everything else that kind of comes with the suburbs. So our flips in the suburbs are making way bigger profits than what we're seeing downtown.
And here's another thing too, and point out that also in the suburbs, you're gonna have a better quality resident who could also fit another model that we've used in the past, which is rent to own. And with rent to own, you're getting a different type of clientele as far as a renter. There's more home ownership mentality. You get a higher than average rental amount because they're actually chipping down at your purchase price. And eventually they have a good shot of purchasing the home after the 2 or 3 year lease that you put that you negotiate with that tenant buyer. So that's another reason why we like that suburb type of investment, because eventually you can flip the property to them. They'll buy it, and on top of that, you're collecting the cash flow.
And here's another thing to consider. So, hey, we're going to give you both sides of the coin, both sides of the investment coin here. We invest in properties in the suburbs and downtown. Here's the thing. We're talking about long-term rentals here when it comes to these suburb properties. When it comes to our Airbnb business, when it comes to the short-term rentals, that's where we want the downtown properties. So that's another kind of thing. You want to monetize every opportunity that comes. Different areas pose different opportunities. Our Airbnb business is thriving in the downtown areas where they're close to the amenities. Yes, the taxes are higher and whatnot, but we don't care because it brings in more revenue. So, every area holds its own advantages and disadvantages, but right underneath our nose, we're seeing huge profits from our long-term rentals. The suburbs is where it's at.
Yeah, let's talk about the money aspect of this. So we just did a deal, Ravensburg, and it's in a suburb of Dayton.
Yes.
And talk to us about that deal that we did. That was an amazing deal, by the way.
So out-of-state seller lived in Virginia, and the seller's husband passed away. And the husband, who unfortunately passed away, had managed this property, had the relationship with the tenant and everything. After he passed away, it went over to the wife. And she had no interest in real estate, especially she had no interest in real estate in another state. So she's living in Virginia. She called off of one of our direct mail postcards.
Do you remember if it was the pink or the blue?
It was the pink one. So we have noticed, by the way, here's a little bonus tip for you, that the pink postcards have been pulling better than the blue postcards. I don't know why, but this particular seller called off that, and they just wanted to get out of this property. They were looking for a cash buyer, and that's what we offer as a home buying business here in our area, and they just wanted to sell it. So we bought the property for $80,000, and the property is valued, the after repair value of this property is $140,000. So we're right in about 55, 60 cents on the dollar right off the bat. But what we really liked about this, it's a suburb property, it's a Section 8 rental, and it's producing $1,236 a month. Guaranteed $1,236 a month on a property that we're all into for 55, 60 cents on the dollar, and the tenant doesn't want to leave. The tenant has been there for 12 years, has raised her kids there, and the number one priority for this resident that's living there, they don't want to leave. And guess what? We don't want them to leave either. The worst thing a landlord wants is a vacant property, because then you have to, guess what? Go in there, turn the property, put in capital expenditures. That's what you call CapEx, right? So no, the tenant wants to stay there, perfect. We're gonna let them stay there as long as they want. We're getting a guaranteed $1,236 a month, and the seller was happy because they just wanted out of the property. Quick cash close, and that's what we were able to provide.
Awesome. So we talked about demand. We also talked about crime and certain areas are better in the suburbs. We also talked about the cost. We went over, the example deal, and just kind of overall the sentiment is people want their space now, right?
Really do.
And that's why we believe that single-family homes in suburb areas are the best investment that's right underneath your nose.
There's a huge supply of them as well. Hey, I mean, there's way more single-family houses out there than there are apartment buildings. So maybe gear your market. We're not opposed to apartments. RJ and I own apartments. We'll buy apartments. But there's a lot more apples on the tree, right? So consider going after single-family homes, especially consider going after homes in the suburb areas. The demand is super high. It's been a presentation of The Cream. It's your boy Dave P. and RJ Pepino. Make sure you like and subscribe the video if you find it valuable, and we will see you on the next video.